that out. The member for McMahon.
Thanks very much, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Treasurer, and I refer to the Treasurer's answer earlier in question time, in which he talked about the economy but did not mention capital expenditure. How much did capital expenditure fall in the September quarter? How much has it fallen since the last election?
I call the Treasurer. I now warn the member for Bass. Treasurer has the call.
Thanks, Mr Speaker. CapEx fell in that quarter by 9.2%. And Mr Speaker, down by 9.2%. Now, what I would and it's 20% lower than it was a year ago.
The Treasurer will just
I'm happy to take his interjection.
No, the Treasurer will resume his seat for a second. The member for McMahon's asked his question. He won't interject and he won't seek to ask supplementaries by way of interjection. The Treasurer has the call.
And I know why the member opposite asked this question, Mr Speaker, because he seems to be in denial that Australia is actually moving past the investment phase of the mining boom. Now, the rest of the country, the rest of this side of the House understands that the Australian economy is going through a transition, and they will know that that mining investment in this country has gone resources investment from about 8% of GDP down to about 3% of GDP. Now, that is what happens when you move out of the investment phase of a mining boom. Now, that might become news because those opposite seem to think that resources and mining was going to fuel their spending forever and ever and ever, and that's why they never do anything to curb spending, Mr Speaker.
The Treasurer will resume his seat. The member for McMahon on a point of order.
Mr Speaker, on direct relevance, the Treasurer appears unaware that non-mining investment is down as well.
The member for McMahon will resume his seat. There's no point of order. The Treasurer has the call.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The member for Herbert will cease interjecting.
Look,
the member for Herbert.
The Shadow Treasurer is right to point out that non-mining investment also fell, Mr Speaker. What he also doesn't understand that when an economy transitions is the investment follows the demand. And what I outlined in my earlier answer, if he chose to listen, is what we're seeing is a pickup in the demand side of the economy, Mr Speaker. And what we will see as the economy transition is the investment side of the equation. Currently what we're seeing is them picking up and utilising existing capacity. And they're moving into that existing capacity as the demand picks up, and as we continue to support policies that promote growth and jobs, then investment will follow at a later stage. Now, that's what happens when an economy transitions. Now, those opposite may used to pick out single points of data to engage in their pessimistic view of the Australian economy, Mr Speaker. They may wish to do that. But the good news is the majority of Australians are—
Member for McMahon.
The majority of Australians, Mr Speaker, are confident about our economy, and there are more optimists than there are pessimists about the Australian economy, according to the Westpac Melbourne Institute survey, Mr Speaker. Now, those opposite may want to indulge in their parade of pessimism when it comes to the economy, Mr Speaker, but the Australian people are going to be backed by this government because they're out there working and saving and investing, and we are going to back them to do that. Those opposite, Mr Speaker, are going to simply seek to discourage them, and that's why they do not deserve to sit on this side of the House.